Gather round, children, gather round. Hello, I am the Rat Shepherd, and today I am reviewing rats. Squeaks. So normally I do media critiques, but rats are a big part of my life. I am the Rat Shepherd after all. These girls feature in my videos in some way, in some form, every time. So yeah, I just want to talk about the pros and cons, why I like them, what are some difficult aspects of owning rats, and sort of like tips and tricks, I guess, that I've learned. You know, I've been a rat dad for 5 years. It's been great, and they're very wonderful creatures, but they do have some caveats. So yeah. First though, let's do some introductions. This is Ozette. She is also known as Scruggly Buggly. This is Fern, named after the mage in Freerun. This is Amicia, also known as the Goblin Princess because she is a goblin. She recently had surgery, which involves putting her in a cone, so a lot of the footage you'll see that I'll be using as B-roll has her in the cone. And this is Thistle, named after the Mad Mage in Dungeon Meshi. She's great. The coolest thing about rats is how emotionally intelligent and how diverse their personalities are. I think when people think of rats, they think they're more like hamsters or something, I guess, when in reality they're more like dogs and cats in terms of sociability and personality, although they do have some, let's call it neuroticisms from being prey animals, so it's not a one-to-one comparison. For example, Ozette here is sort of like the quintessential dog rat. She knows her name and she often wants attention and in general is just a goof to be around. Meanwhile, her sister Amicia is more cat-like. She's very weird, aloof, and bratty, still friendly in her own way, but like, yeah, she's just a goblin girl. There's no other way to describe it. And then Thistle, who is currently on my back, let me grab, who is very smart, a bit too smart for her own good. She is always hiding and finding places where she should not go, but she's otherwise like very personable in her own way. And her sister Fern is just kind of like a dog rat. She's just very needy with attention, always wanting to play and stuff. And Thistle and Fern are about 6 months old, and therefore they have that energy. They're basically like mentally like teenagers, young teenagers. Meanwhile, Ozette and Amicia are 2 years old, which is kind of like 50-ish or so. They're old, you know, for rats, which is one of the negatives that I'll talk about further along in the video. Every rat has their preferred hiding spots, their favorite treats, ways they show affection, sometimes licking, sometimes nibbling, and other ways. It's great. Now, rats are very social animals, so you can't have one. It's very bad. It'll make them depressed. So you have to have at least two. In my case, I find that 4 is a good amount to maintain vet bills, and it's just fun seeing them interact together, really. Yeah, you want more food. Even though all the grapes are there, you already had a grape. You already had a grape, which is the size of her brain. Now, one way they are different than dogs and cats is that when they're babies, when you get them, which is around 2 months old, they're not immediately sociable. They're still prey animals. So they're not gonna be like immediately cuddly, or they're not gonna immediately like you, even from when you get rats from breeders. To a baby rat, you are a large, stinky predator. So the way I've socialized rats in the past that have made very sociable rats is just, I grab them basically whenever I want. You know, as long as they're not like actually like puffing up their fur or are biting. But that's never been the case. I've never been aggressively bitten by a pet rat. Now, I have been bitten when I have a treat in my hand and instead of getting the treat, they get my finger. Their eyesight is really bad. So, but yeah, rats on their own, they just kind of annoy each other. That's kind of how they interact with themselves. So I think being grabbed is pretty normal for them. And my logic is that the sooner that they realize that you are a friend, and that you bring food and comfort, it lessens the stress overall, right? So, but yeah, they don't start off really cuddly or nice. They start off very small and kind of scared. But that changes pretty fast, I think. It's actually funny to see the transition of them getting more confident and stuff. And some rats, I mean, I've had rats where I get them and they're immediately like, hey, new crib, what's up? Hey, I like this place. Nice place you got here. I'm gonna make it my own, you know, that kind of stuff. Unsurprisingly, food is the best way to earn their trust. They're very, very food motivated. Rats are the most widely studied animal in the world, probably, and like they're just very smart and very, very, very cool. They have empathy. They can be altruistic. They have a theory of mind. I like to say that they are emotionally complex creatures, right? They have a rich inner world, which I do think they do. I think more animals have a rich inner world than we give credit for, but rats especially, they're very social, so they have brains more similar to us because we are also very social creatures. Now, as far as setup and the things you need for a rat, my setup is a Critter Nation cage with fleece bedding and a doggy pad pee thing underneath, with shelters and hammocks on top, some litter boxes in the corners, since rats can actually be litter trained, kind of, sort of, a water bowl, a water bottle, some food, which is basically rat kibble. Yeah, so rats need at least an hour of free time outside of the cage, though mine get way more than that because I'm a crazy rat person. But you need to have at least a room, even if it's a bathroom, or just maybe even a couch if that's all. But they do need their free time. They get cramped in a cage. And as a warning for free roaming, they do gnaw. It's kind of part of the rodent thing, which I'll get to in the negatives. But yeah, so they need a buddy and they need to be let out the cage. Those are the requirements. And of course, you want to have them out the cage so you could interact with them, right? That's like that's the whole idea. But ow, don't bite! A negative that I don't have written. A negative that I don't have written in my notes is rats go crazy when you wear socks. I don't know why. Or bandages, or piercing sometimes. Yeah, don't you dare nibble my toes. Uh, they're just like, I don't know. They like to groom. Rats are very clean. They're always cleaning themselves. I think they're just like, oh yeah, obviously you have like a layer of like dead skin on your foot. Like, I'm helping you out, but like, yeah, just getting nibbled real quick by the rats. And another thing about free roaming. So you know how difficult it is to find a cat sometimes? Rats, particularly this rat, they're like expert hiders. Obviously, right, being prey animals, being very small. Um, I have been outsmarted my entire time of owning rats. Every time I'm like, yeah, I know all their hiding spots. I got everything figured out, and I am just humbled every time. It kind of makes me go insane. So watch out for that. You will be outsmarted by rats. There's no question about it, no matter how well you rat proof. I've never lost a rat outside, right? I never like had any rats escape. But there have been times where I'm spending way too long looking for a rat, which is not a fun feeling. So yeah. Okay, so I gave you the pitch on why I think they're cool and sort of their weird tendencies and stuff. So now let's talk about the bad, because of course all pets have bad things or stressful things about them. And I'm going to talk about in order of like least bad to the most bad. Least bad thing about rats is that they sit mark with their pee. That is just how they are. That's how they communicate. Their eyesight's bad, but their smelling and sense of hearing is amazing. So yeah, when I was reading about this on Reddit and other stuff before I got rats, I was kind of like nervous about like the smell and like how much pee, because like pee's gross, right? But it's a funny way to phrase it. On the scale of animal pee, rat pee is probably the best pee. I know we're talking about pee here, but it's true. If cats are the worst with like their crystallizing urine, right? That just stains everything. Don't drink my coffee. That's not for you. Oh, that was a spin. You could also teach them to spin. Thistle's finally picking it up. But no, take the treat. You spun. Whatever. Here, will you spin? That was a good spin. Cool. Yeah, back to rat pee. So when they scent mark, it is like the tiniest amount. Almost like it feels like a bit of sweat or something, like that amount. Still gross, but very easy to clean up, and it's not, at least with girls, not as often. Boys, I've heard, are worse. They're just, I've heard that boys are just like piss goblins. Girl rats, not as bad. So yeah, that's one negative about them. They scent mark. They can't not scent mark. You just gotta accept that you're gonna be peed on a little bit sometimes. The second negative thing is they gnaw. It is part of the rodent name. That's why they're called rodents. Their teeth are just constantly growing. They have the urge. And despite having plenty of other things that I want them to chew, they like to chew the baseboards. So watch out if you're renting like me. It's going to be an awkward conversation when I leave this apartment. Oh my God, you're gnawing. Speaking of gnawing. You're gnawing. Don't gnaw. Actually, that's allowed. I do have things. Get out of there. It's hard. I do have like things that I let them gnaw on, like pieces of wood paneling that is used for rat proofing. They could go to town. They don't know the difference between a baseboard and like a wood paneling. Yeah, in my experience, rats are very smart, but they don't understand the concept of no. Like a dog, you could tell them no and they'll understand. I think rats, when you like yell at them or even try any like negative stimulus, you're just like a loud, angry giant yelling at them. At best, they're confused. At worst, they're scared. So if you don't want anything gnawed or peed on, it just can't be in the room with them. That is like the only surefire way. So you'll want to protect all your cords. Like I have like this cord wrap around here. I have like my phone charger that's actually a metal one, because after buying a few phone chargers, I was just like, time to get something that's gnaw-proof. So yeah, they're hard to find and they gnaw. So, but that is a fairly like normal thing. If you're getting pets, they're gonna pee, they're gonna chew stuff, they're gonna probably damage some stuff. I've had dogs, I've had cats. Yeah, it's just kind of like part of the bargain of pet ownership. And now for the worst part of rat ownership. Hands down by far, not even close to the other stuff I listed as negatives. This just sucks. Their lives are very short. Rats only live between like 1.5 to 3 years. 3 years tops. I've never had a rat get to 3. I've had a rat recently who lived almost to 2 years and 9 months, and that was a record. I've lost rats 1.5 years. I've lost rats at 2 years old. And with the rapid aging comes with more vet costs. So rats themselves are pretty cheap. I got most of my rats from breeders for like $20 a rat, which is nothing. I don't know why they charge that cheap. I think they should actually be more. But the vet bills, you're gonna have vet bills for something. They are prone to upper respiratory infections. Normally that's manageable with antibiotics, but before getting rats, you wanna make sure that you have a vet in your area that can treat rats. I am in Seattle, so I have one exotic vet within the city limits. And he's great, but he has told me that people will like travel hundreds of miles to see him. Tumors, very, very common. Tumor removal, as you'll see in footage of Amicia with the cone, yeah, you gotta do it sometimes. Recently, Ozette and Amicia had tumor removed. And, oh boy, I love these rats a whole lot because the amount I spent on these rats, yeah, it was $800 for Ozette's simple tumor removal, and over $1,400 with Amicia's tumor removal, which are a bit more invasive, hence the cone. That's a lot of money. So before getting rats, don't think of them as cheap pets. The short lives is just the worst. I try to immortalize them in my own way by having them in my videos. I take a lot of photos of them. So that's a big part. If you go to any rat forum, rat Reddit, rat Facebook groups, whatever, it's equal parts cute photos and equal parts people being really sad. That's the negative. The way I handle their short lives is a few things. One, I treat them like royalty. These rats have better healthcare than I provide for myself, easily. They have no idea. They don't know about weather. They don't know about predators. They're just like the top like 0.0001% of rats in the world. And it's my pleasure to give them that kind of life. And another thing that I think about is like, yeah, so, 2.5 years is a short time for me. But to a rat, that's like a lifetime. That's like their whole lives. So you just got to think about it. Every creature on this earth, we're all in different time scales. But it does make me feel like I'm an elf surrounded by humans and I get to watch them just grow old. But yeah, the short lives, the gnawing, the peeing, those are all the negatives. And of course, to me, it's worth it. It's just kind of funny that these 4 small rodents, they have opinions on me. They think about me. It's very weird to think about. Yeah, so I think that about does it. This is, once again, very different from my normal videos. So if the algorithm showed you this video for some reason, sorry, I'm not actually a pet rat YouTuber. I do media critiques. But I recently got 1,000 subscribers and now monetized. And I've been wanting to do this video for a while regardless. So like, this is kind of like yay, I'm monetized and I've been a rat owner for 5 years and you know, whatever. I'm a very self-indulgent person, so I'll do videos that I want to do, and I've been wanting to do this one for a while, and rats are really cool. uh, I'm a little obsessed, I think. But if you have any questions about rats, ask them in the comments. I'll answer. I'll definitely answer any rat-related questions. And yeah, thanks for sticking around and watching this video, and I hope to see you around for the next one. Thanks. Let me grab. Let me grab. You were grabbed. What now? Did you think this far ahead? Okay. Bye-bye.